I really would just like to leave you with one thought, which I have partially stolen from Bronwyn. Bronwyn mentioned a lovely analogy that to pick up radio waves, you need a radio. I would like to extend that very slightly and say, yes, you do need radio. You also need radio stations. One of the real challenges, I believe, for the health system of the future will be to ensure that we have the radio stations and the radios so that the new bodies will be able to pick up the messages that are being sent through to them. And I would just reflect for 1 minute back to Rod's presentation, where Rod talked about some of the older institutions which we had, the New Zealand Guidelines Group, the Public Health Commission, for example. We also had a substantial number of advisory committees to the Ministry of Health, which were not just advisory, they were reactive, but they were also could be proactive. They consisted, as did the New Zealand Guidelines Group and as did the Public Health Commission, of both researchers, clinicians, public health people, really the kind of people that have been represented here today, as well as officials who are policymakers with direct access to politicians, including politicians at the ministerial level. And I have had personal experience of this as someone who chaired a number of those committees. There was a wonderful communication between policymakers and politicians as well as researchers. I think that old systems get outdated in the same way that radio stations become outdated. There are a number of radio stations that existed 30 years ago that don't exist anymore. And it's quite appropriate that this happens. And I think it is quite appropriate that we now need new radio stations and possibly some new radios so that those waves can be picked up. And I hope that Don, Ian, and others who are involved in working together with the Māori Health Authority, the Public Health Agency, and Health New Zealand, in order to work out how we are going to be provided with a health system in New Zealand, will consider the new radios and the new radio stations that will be needed to replace those old institutions, which did serve a useful purpose at the time. So I have found this morning a fantastically useful experience. And once again, a huge thank you to everybody. And I hope you not only enjoyed, but found the morning useful. Thank you.